Thank you. So this is a humble Colombian that moved to Argentina 4 years ago, not looking for vacation. So I'm very excited to be here, and I'm going to talk about a little bit about the trends we are seeing in Latin America and how the internet is an engine of growth and the imperative for us to adopt new business models and to rethink and reinvent ourselves in order to tackle the opportunity ahead. So before we start, I just wanted to make some questions here to see how really we're embracing the internet. I want you to raise your hand if you are willing to give up coffee for 1 year just in exchange of the internet. Very few people. Well, as a data point, BCG published a study this year that says that in China, 85% of Chinese are willing to give up coffee for 1 year instead of the internet. Let's go to something more juicy, chocolate. Who's willing to give up chocolate for 1 year instead of the internet? Okay, like 30%. 78% of the British people are willing to give up chocolate just for the internet. Let's go to cars. How many of you are willing to give up your car for the internet for 1 year? Not many. Well, in Japan, 40% of Japanese are willing to give up their cars for the internet. And this is the best one. This is really Latin America. How many of us, or how many of you, I don't know, are willing to give up sex? This is a true question. You can go and look online, and you will find the answer. I'll give you the answer. For 1 year, in exchange of the internet. No hands. How many Brazilians do we have in this room? Okay, I lived in Brazil for 16 years. 12%. 12% of Brazilians are willing to give up the sex in exchange of the internet. I didn't see anything. This was a BCG report, okay? Okay, let's go to the trends. And I'm going to share with you 5 trends that are global. And obviously, you know, Latin America has embraced these trends. And the first one is very obvious, is everyone and everything is online. 2 billion internet users as of the end of 2011. And we expect 1 extra billion by 2015, okay? Huge amount of people going online. In Latin America, 130 million people are online. And what they do online is many things. We're going to share those things. But the Latin American spends more time online than an average user in the world. Latin Americans love video. And we are the highest consumers of video. Maybe as Andres mentioned, because we don't go to school, we just watch videos, right? That's maybe, or we are studying through video online. I will be feeling better if we are studying through video online. The region also leads in social networking, okay? We have 5 countries that are the most engaged in social networking in the world. Those are Argentina, Chile, Peru, Colombia, and Mexico. And then Brazil, together with India and Indonesia, are basically the countries with the strongest growth in social networking, okay? But, you know, we see that all these people are online, and there is a tremendous amount of information and insights that are, you know, being there because of people. The more people are online, the more information is there, right? And so the internet is becoming a mirror of what people are doing, right? So the internet became basically a resource, plenty of insights for us, for consumers, consumer insights. And this is what we call anticipating the present. Not even anticipating the future, it's anticipating the present. Let me ask you a question. How many of you go online to search when you feel that you are not feeling well, that you have like a suspicious sickness, and you have some symptoms, and you go and look for the symptoms online. How many of you do that? Okay, let me give you an example of how we, as advertisers, agencies, or curious people, can anticipate the present with some of the online trends. In Google, we created something called the flu trends. And the origin of this was, well, we look at people, and where there were specific geographies where we were specifically seeing that a lot of searches around flu or something similar were arising, we saw that there was a pattern. Then the flu basically appeared in that specific geography. So this is what we call the flu trends. And we provide this tool to the health agencies in countries in such a way that they can map where the queries or the searches for symptoms around flu were, and then they can map that there is something going on in the region even before the health agencies capture those specific symptoms. This is a specific example of how we can start looking at the internet as a source of information, and more so insights to anticipate the present and anticipate consumer behavior. And you will say, okay, that's nice, we all know this. Latin Americans are online, we are online every time, we're always online. So what, right? What does this imply for us, advertisers, companies, or even agencies? Well, I think it's something very simple, right? If our customers or users are online all the time, we should be always online, right? We should be engaging in conversations and anticipating, those behaviors and those questions that they have. So first idea, be always on. Be where your consumers, your users are. The second trend is consumers are hyper-informed. Just to give you some data points, 16% of the queries that we see in Google every day are new. And then the queries and the consumers specifically are becoming so sophisticated that they just don't look for one word or two. They just ask full questions. So the more sophisticated and informed the consumers are, the more words there are to the queries. Let's picture something. We all know that two of the main categories that are searched the most online and travel for obvious reasons and tech. Okay? More than 70% of Latinos look at the internet or searching the internet when searching or exploring a specific product or service in travel and tech. You say, okay, that's an easy one because I want to compare features against an iPad or a smartphone. But not only on those categories. If you go to another more simple category, like, for example, consumer goods, we have seen that at least 30% of Latinos go online to inform themselves before engaging into buying something as simple as diapers. And then if you look at something like cars, 7 out of 10 Colombians and Peruvians research online and go and do their homework before buying a car. This reminds me of a conversation that I was having last week with the president of General Motors for Argentina and Paraguay and Uruguay, Isela. She was telling me that the power of the internet is basically now in the consumer hands, and that the people go to the dealers specifically just to smell a car, to watch and double check the color, rather than, and maybe, test drive, but they already go to the concessionaires or to the dealers with the decision made. And the question for us is, okay, so what? Again, we all know that people are online, they are looking in different platforms, different websites, searching, and what does that mean for us? Well, two things. We need to look at the internet, at the focus group for the world. So, the focus group is something that is instant, gives you instant information, and is there. It's not even a simulation, it's real life focus group. right? And the second is use the internet as a management dashboard to give you all the insights and data, to drive your business and correct, or confirm some of the things or strategies or tactics that you are implementing. The third trend, and I think this is not very non-familiar for you, is the four screens world. How many of you have a smartphone, a tablet, a TV, a PC? PCs. Okay. The important thing here is that, Latin Americans are embracing, we in Latin America are embracing all these screens very fast. We leapfrog everything from the US or the most advanced economies. That's a fact. The key here is that one screen is not replacing the other. They are being used in different contexts. TV is the number one screen for entertainment, right? But then it's being complemented with a set of other screens. Let me give you a data point. During the London 2012 Olympics, 47% of Olympic-related queries in the US came from a smartphone. So people were watching the games and at the same time were searching something, okay? When you use a smartphone, you just usually use it on the go, and you usually do it for a specific action, okay? Tablets, they are our best friends in the sofa, right? Entertainment is key, and the most usage for tablets is entertainment, personal reasons, watching videos, and also doing some shopping online. What are the implications of all these with the four screens? Is that something that we have seen over the past 3 to 4 years is that the power has been shifted from the creators of contents to the consumers of contents. The power has been shifted to the consumer, and the consumer exactly decides where, how, and when to consume content. That's one. And the other is content has become liquid, and it needs to flow flawlessly from one screen to the other. As advertisers and agencies, we need to be very aware of this. Don't think about, okay, let's create something very nice, which is made for TV, and then let's try to adapt it to one or the other screens. Let me give you a very nice example. So I saw a lot of Brazilians this side, right? So Banco Itaú. We are all familiar with Banco Itaú, right? So Banco Itaú, it's a bank that is the largest private bank in Brazil, and they wanted to go with a very aggressive campaign to make people shift paperless. The idea was to at least convert 300,000 users into paperless statements. So what they did is they created, from the conception, a campaign that was supposed to go in all and every single screen, included the ATM machines, included those screens. So they created this campaign, and they, rather than creating something or licensing something, they just took a viral video that was, high viewed in the internet, and licensed this video and put it online and use the same campaign for all the media. In less than 1 week, they achieved more than double what they wanted, and people shared through all the different social networks, this campaign. So, I think the power of the example here exemplifies, like, they created something from the very, very first moment to go and work flawlessly in every single screen, including the ATM screens, okay? Choice and sharing. Choice and sharing is the other trend are accelerating. And the content is basically exploding, right? And you and me as consumers, we have limitless choices. Let me give you some big numbers about content and sharing. When you see something that you hate or love, you share it. Specific numbers, globally, 72 hours of video are uploaded in YouTube for every minute. Let me change that to, let me do the math and convert this into a more dramatic number. This is equivalent to 12 years of video that are uploaded every single day in YouTube. 100,000 years of video were shared last year from YouTube through Facebook. And 700 videos are shared through Twitter every minute. So embrace that. And the power of the consumers and the endorsement is becoming more and more powerful. So what with all this? The main thing is when creative touches the social area, this is going to be shared big way. And I think we used to buy views, now earned views that are they are exponentially shared through word of mouth, become more and more powerful, okay? So key message for that. The next one is, and the last one of the trends is, extraordinary has become the ordinary. And I'm going to ask you a question. How many of you get really frustrated when your telephone is not working? Well, we got used to smartphones working properly. Remember 6 years ago. How many of you, well, we are in Latin America, so still this is more to the US, but when you get into a plane that has Wi-Fi, you get really happy, right? But then if you're living in the US and you get into a plane and it has no Wi-Fi, you get really frustrated. So we're becoming more and more and more, obviously we are more picky as users. And also, something that was thought to be something unthinkable now has become the ordinary. So what on this one, right? I think the key message is the power still is in the user. They are becoming more picky. They are becoming more and more, they are asking more from us. And then when they like the stuff, they share it. When they don't like or hate it, they share it in a bad way. So we need to be, in all these moments, engaging in those conversations with the customers. So those are the trends. And from the consumer side, I think we all know and we are clear that Latin America is ready, right? We embrace the internet, the users are there, heavy users. We need to do more on education and less on vacation, but we are there. We are heavy users of internet. And I think the key message that follows here is that there is a need for the companies, advertisers, and agencies to start reinventing the way we engage with consumers. Do we know them? Do we know what they do? Are we using the insights from the internet intelligently? Are we testing, prototyping, being scrappy a little bit? Being not afraid of failure, as Andres mentioned, and using the internet the way we should? Are we using really the power of the internet or digital media and the screens? Let me go and share with you something that at Google we just framed as a way of thinking. Is what we call the agile creativity, reinventing ourselves. And this concept is really simple. I mean, we just learned from the tech companies in the Silicon Valley, and we just saw that in the creative world and in our world, some of these strategies can be applied and provide a successful case for us. So we see 5 different strategies to tackle the opportunity. And I'm going to focus on 3, but these are the 5 strategies: collaboration, hackathon mode, minimum viable brief, the beta testing with clients, and prototyping campaigns. If you want to read more about, there is a link there, and this is just thoughts that were put there for us to engage in a different, strategy when we go after our customers. The strategies that I'm going to focus on are collaboration, the minimum viable brief, and prototyping. First of all, collaboration. Let's think the way we do or we start a campaign from moment zero today. Let's go to the, how many of you are familiar with Mad Men? Okay? Let's think about the way we create stuff, right? There is a creative area, there is a planning area, there is the customer, as there are the technicians, right? And we just sit, someone writes a brief, the brief is passed to the team in the agency works and provides something, right? Well, here, what we are challenging is that specific model, okay? We're seeing that good examples that are working now are the ones where we just basically collocate people either physically or virtually and put them all together in one room, okay? It's the customer or the advertiser, is the agency, technical people, and even the medium or the platforms, all together. You just give them a project, give them a deadline, and then put them to work together. Just see this video.
We actually had to change the physical space to adapt to a higher pace. We built a thing that we call the work wall. And we have an expression, when it's on your desk, it's yours. When it's on the wall, it's ours. And once it's up there, we get the entire group moving up and down the wall. You have strategists commenting on the creative work, and the creatives are commenting on the strategic run up to the work. And because we have more chance to iterate, we're just better positioned to make that better work for our clients.
Okay, the other concept around collaboration is also make sure that you are developing a T-shaped team or talent in which you have two sets of skills. One, very particular specialized people. The second is people that are team players, okay? Let's go to the other concept, which is the minimum viable brief. And we see that the brief for a campaign usually is too tight. It even does provide you with a sales quota, right? It almost tells you what you need to do for the creative. What we are challenging here is go the opposite. Go to the minimum, kind of when you are creating a product, the minimum features that you need to make a product functional. That's all. And leave the rest, to this team that is collaborating and creating a campaign. So the minimum viable brief needs to be written in a T-shirt, something simple that allows for flexibility, that allows to launch and iterate, and gets insights live, from the digital world, from the internet. So the three components of the minimum viable brief are simple, real-time insights, and there are many tools, right, online. One example is the Consumer Commerce Barometer, a tool created basically by TNS and IAB, in which you can go and see the patterns and behaviors of people offline and online before making a purchase. You can engage into conversations live through video conference online, Google Plus Hangouts or similar. The other is allow for multiple thought starters rather than only one, right? And the last one is, as obvious, needs to be flexible. Listen to insights and accommodate to reinvent or reshape that brief, okay? And the third one, which I wanted to explore here, is prototyping. And Andres touched a little bit on this when the question was asked, is sometimes we expect for perfection before launching something, right? And as I mentioned, the focus group of the world is the web. So why to wait, right? Just do something that is 80% even buggy and launch it and trying to learn from that, right? Let it flow and get insights and correct. Don't be afraid of failure. Listen, change. I remember in many of my conversations with many CEOs in all Latin America, they say, you know, we don't want to hear comments. We don't want our brand to be criticized. And I say, you know, why are you just doing this? Just listen and react. You know, that's kind of the concept of prototyping. Just, you know, don't wait remember, in the old time of media, we have launch and leave. In the internet, when you launch, you are just starting to engage into a conversation with a customer or a potential user. Let's see this video.
Well, how can we get our agency, one that is used to working in big creative teams, and get them to move faster? And so what we decided to do is take a group of cross-discipline type creatives and technologists, put them in a room together, and give them 30 days to build our agency website. And not just the website, the mobile platform, the tablet, and so on. It was a bit of a collaborative and open process. And so at the end of 30 days, I think we got the platform done even sooner than that. And it was buggy, and we expect that, and I think that's also something that we have to learn, and particularly in marketing, that in digital you learn by doing things. But for advertising, that's really a foreign concept. It's a launch and leave it mentality mostly when you look at where traditional advertising come from. We want to get our culture, our agencies, and everyone thinking more like agile developers. And 30 days of beta was kind of a showpiece for us in many ways to say, hey, clients, we're actually trying to challenge ourselves to be faster.
Okay. And then I wanted just to show you an example. How many of you were alive in 1971? Okay, did you remember? I'm going to sing, okay? So I'm not Shakira, not even Sofia Vergara. I'm humble, but I'm quisiera el mundo darle amor y llenarlo de paz. How many of you remember that song? Okay, okay. Well, this is a project, so that was context, but this is a project that we started in Google called Rebrief. And that basically exemplifies part of what I described here with regards to agile creativity. It's just putting, eliminating walls, collaborating, putting all the right talent together, and working on something. And we asked some of the legendary kind of creatives to reimagine one campaign that in this case was in 1971, and reimagine that campaign with the use of technology. Let's watch this video, and then I'll explain what happened.
I like to teach the world to sing. Sing with me.
Please be seated. I'm Javi Gabor, one of the 6 grand old men of advertising.
When you created Hilltop, what was that thought? What was that one thing that you kind of said, okay, this is now taking it from something that's okay to something that's really great? Because Hilltop had like a real message and an insight.
I don't really have that one. I can tell you how it came about, which is mostly instinctive. It talks about the world, but it really speaks to one person.
How do you feel about maybe, instead of showing people, is there anything to like connecting people?
Yeah. Keep it warm. You know better than I do how to start connecting people.
If you are consuming and interacting with my brand and my content on a tablet, the things you would expect the ad to do will be slightly different than what you would expect on a laptop and on a phone. And based on the device, I also know a little bit about what kind of environment you might be in.
I like to teach the world to sing. Sing with me.
What Google did was very creative. They said, what would happen if we married the best of the old and the best of the new? No one ever did that before.
Still pretty good.
Okay, just briefly, what they did is obviously they put a lot of people together, reimagined the Hilltop commercial, and they wanted to bring a Coke to everyone. So they deploy a lot of vending machines connected through the internet, and you were able to send a Coke to everyone or anyone that you wanted in the world. That idea came from creative technical people and the customer itself with a key purpose, bringing Coke to everyone in the world. And with that, I just wanted to say, summing up, consumers are there, Latinos are there, embrace the internet as the source of information, at the focus group, engage in conversations before they even get into buying a product, and try to think out of the box with regards to how do you embrace creativity, be fast and agile. Thank you.